about compositions all weekend long. I think we can sort of dismiss that one here. We know what they're going to play. Double shield is most likely going to come through from both squads, and then obviously the variation of Farah from Larry. How do you think these teams are going to react to some of these? Do you think these players will adapt here in this last and final matchup?
It's a very short amount of time for them to craft completely like new strats on the side of Crabbers, but I imagine they would have spent like all of last night trying to come up with something after their victory, because they probably had a pretty good inkling that they were going to face Carleton again in these finals.
Well, I mean, they knew they would face Carleton specifically after they beat Blizzkill, right? They had a chance to kind of go through that. And Carleton did have some time to watch Blizzkill. Both teams were obviously at the venue for the game. But that being said, we are opening up. It is going to be the play from that Twitchy switching over to the Reaper as well. We are seeing a mirror composition control center. Reminder, in the last time, Carleton Ravens actually took 100-0 on this stage. The punch comes in from Deluxe Rocks. He gets out, not even needs to use his other cooldown, so he can go in right away right after that. The uppercut comes in, no value. Nick, look in the back line. Jacklor finds that front line initially, and this is looking very good for the Carleton Ravens as they take that shield advantage, pushing their way in. Jacklor hit with the accretion, but it's not enough to turn into a final blow, and Deluxe Rocks zoning out the entirety of the backline. Larry all alone on the point. The first capture percentage will go to the CU Ravens.
Yeah, Modern DARPA maybe getting a bit too far aggressive there with the Reaper able to take that off angle past the Orisa shield, and just not being able to be kept up through all that insane amount of damage.
Yeah, setting the stakes for the next fight. Here's that first punch into the halt. The Coalescence already out from Carleton. First kill onto Nick, by which I mean Jacklorf getting the accretion, and this will be the final blows all the way with the Coalescence. 3, 4, and 5. Gets the team kill right after that, and here is a big problem for the Crabbers in the next fight, because look at Jacklorf compared to K-Bears.
Yeah, the Flux coming out without a sound barrier to counter it has been exceedingly strong. We've seen that all weekend, especially look at was it Deluxe Rocks as well, to see the Meteor Strike maybe following up on the Flux. Here, as we see right here, the Flux, the Meteor Strike actually not able to find too much due to shields, but the rest of CU Ravens still able to follow up these kills.
Yeah, that is going to be a very clean showing from the CU Ravens. Jacklorf taking a little bit of a miss there with the accretion, gets hit himself, but he'll be all right. His team stays alive. Deluxe Rocks, of course, did die, but he'll be back pretty swiftly. Twitchy does have this Death Blossom coming online here, and again, K-Bears does not really have anything to work with. Larry mirroring the Death Blossom charge, but it is going to be the Supercharger of disadvantage. That's a big deal here for Crabbers. Carleton elected to play a little bit passively in the open, trying to set up that Death Blossom likely for Twitchy. There's that Supercharger coming in initially, the halt into the punch, but it's already a counter. There is the Death Blossom. Twitchy, though he is stunned, it is too little too late. And with that, Carleton Ravens looking pretty strong. Another team kill, Supercharger ticking away, 10% remaining, and it is not looking good. Sound Barrier is online for Kip. And now you have to worry if you're just about touching point if you're the Crabbers.
Yeah, Crabbers are going to need to make some magic work. They do have a lot of ultimates coming online.
They don't touch it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just as simple as that.
It's tough there in that last situation because, again, there isn't a whole lot you can get to point with. You know, it's the Lucio or the Reaper who probably arguably has to touch, but then you have to worry about the ultimate setup. So then after you touch point, then you have to think about, now how does the fight go? And this is looking pretty tough, obviously, if you're one of those players. But we are now headed into Gardens as our second map, and this is where the Farah can come to play just a little bit more.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Crabbers decides to leverage that Farah. Rather, it looks like they might be instead opting with a Symmetra here and then presumably switching back to the Doomfist after. This would... Oh, interesting.
I mean, we'll likely see the Farah here from Jurassic of all... No, Larry does come out with it, okay. But we are... Okay, so there it is. Jurassic will switch to the Doomfist. Very standard here from Carleton. On the meanwhile, they head through White Room. They know the Farah is going to be there. They say, okay, that's fine. We're going to let you do your Concussive Blast over the bridge. Nothing going to happen there. And Carleton taking a more aggressive positioning early. They're holding the front line here, saying, come to us. Larry with a ton of spam on the way in, but Carleton actually pretty safe nonetheless. They're stopping the entire team. The Farah can't really do much. There's a very aggressive play from Deluxe Rocks, but again, Jurassic, though he punishes, is traded from the tank line, so you don't have a DPS. There it is, a great play from Jurassic, comes in. And right now, Jurassic actually jumping off. It is they get the Resurrect too, and Jurassic is gonna stay alive as Larry comes in the back line. Crabbers play that very, very well. Carleton kind of letting them get they're letting themselves get taken out.
Yeah, very smart play from Crabbers to recognize that it's probably going to be Deluxe Rocks on the Doomfist coming in there to engage. So they're just saving like literally everything just to shut down Deluxe Rocks when he comes in. And the result of that, Carleton down 1. And the rest of their team can just take that fight pretty freely with the Pharah.
Very aggressive from Jacklorf, actually. Or sorry, from Deluxe Rocks, as he played with a little bit more space than he was actually given. Here we can see Shiro taking the spam as Larry's playing so passively with the Pharah. They're going anyway. And this is a dangerous play because you're just feeding all charge if you're the CU Ravens.
Yeah, this is not looking too great for the CU Ravens. Not too many ultimates coming online. Even the fast-building Coalescence here is still not online by Fight 3.
Yeah, Deluxe Rock's going back to spawn, switching up here. He knows he can't play the Widow anymore. It's a double shield. You're not going to get a ton of value. Deluxe Rock's actually switching over the McCree. So we're going for a more, a more pocket-oriented strategy here. We did see it yesterday from Carleton. Concussive Blast actually not going to find any value there. Great shielding from Jacklorf. Aggressive shield, but the barrage is available. And already 2 people down from CU Ravens. The trade is there, but the Resurrect is back in time, and this is looking very dangerous now for Carleton. They get another one. This could be an opportunity. Modern DARPA so very weak. They're forced to use the Valkyrie on the defense, and Jacklorf nearly has the Gravitic Flux. As soon as he gets it, is he going to go for the kill? No, there's a full reset, I think. I think that was a reset, but this is last fight territory, so I don't know.
Okay, yeah, looking at Crabbers' ultimates, they have some pretty great ultimates coming in. Yeah, we could definitely going to see the Supercharger coming out here, being last fight territory, maybe a pull Meteor Strike as well.
There is the Gravitic Flux canceled out. Meanwhile, Sound Barrier's there for the CU Ravens and a counter Gravitic Flux, but someone needs to get to point here. Here is the Meteor Strike. It's going to find value as Kip was taken down. Jurassic coming back in for a couple of kills, but it's looking dangerous for the Crabbers as Deluxe Rocks comes in for the final blow, finds 2 for himself, and that's going to be a reset, but it's an overtime fight, and Carleton had to use nearly everything to get there.
Yeah, heavy ultimate investing from Carleton. 3 ultimates there. The Supercharger, the Flux, and the Sound Barrier. Although the pocket pick of Deluxe Rocks looks like so far it has been effective in shutting down what Crabbers has to offer. Although they do have the Supercharger and probably a Barrage coming into this next fight. Yep, so they have to pay attention to those off angles.
Deluxe Rocks forced to kite away from the Rockets, but a great halt from Kachow, pulls off one, and Kip with the boop comes in. That fight's over and stuff. The tank line just gone before the fight even begins.
Yeah, some pretty great playing on the bridge there, playing to the strength of both Lucio and Orisa. Those environmental kills can be very, very hampering.
Well, a rotational change here from Crabbers as they choose to go through White Room and send Larry over the bridge, most likely. Carleton return the favor, heading back to point. Remember, this is last fight territory for Crabbers. They only need 1 fight to win the point. Early Coalescence there from Shiro, but it pays value as 3 people dead. The barrage comes in, but it's not going to find enough kills to really be a difference maker. The flash, sorry, that's a little flashy there from Deluxe Rocks.
The high
noon into the fan of the hammer, yeah.
Yeah. You could tell at the beginning of that fight we were respecting Jacklorf, and you could see he was holding his Sigma barrier back. He knew that Pharah was going to be coming in for the barrage. Unfortunately, it does still find value, but not enough for Crabbers to flip that fight. Exactly.
And Deluxe was actually stayed alive, so he was able to kill the Pharah before anything was even able to happen. Actually, a pretty clean fight for Carleton. They only used 2 ultimates there. And now heading there. There's the Concussive Blast across just to stay alive. Supercharger committed from Kachow. Here's the Death Blossom. Dodges the Accretion, too. A very aggressive Supercharger from Modern DARPA, and he's down early. There is the Gravitic Flux. Sorry, the knockup from Jurassic, rather, but it is not enough. Nick coming in. Twitchy played for the Death Blossom, but it was too aggro. Here comes the Gravitic Flux from Jacklorf, perhaps. Remember, this is last fight, no matter who is there. Gravitic Flux over the top. Catches the Mercy. Down K-Bears goes, and with the respawns coming in for Kachow, he comes in off the Wrecking Ball for the quick spawn. Knocks about the players. Modern DARPA dead, and this is looking pretty good for Carleton. The punch misses onto the coalescing Moira. No one can get to point in Carleton. They take the comeback, and it's 2-0 on Li Zhang for a 1-0 lead in the series.
Yeah, Kachow busting out the ball to get to point back faster. They just went out through the Great Brawl there. Yeah, even though the Flux... Actually, no, the Flux got pretty good value on there. Yeah, catching the Mercy, that's a very important sustain on the point, just completely gone.
Yeah, we were seeing the coalescence here. This was that quintuple kill on round 1. And, you know, back-to-back 100-0s in control center for Carleton, but this time a much better showing on Garden than the last time they played it.
Yeah. Yeah, Carleton.
Actually, no. This is a mirror of the Garden the last time they played it. Remember, because Carleton was down to 74-0, and they came back and full held all the way. So a very similar style there.
After the swap to McCree, yeah.
Exactly, after the swap.
Yeah, the reluctance a bit on the part of Deluxe to swap to the McCree, but it does seem to be the effective strategy for dealing with Pharah.
Yeah, so map number 1 is in the books. Map number 2, of course, is going to be hybrid. Loser's pick there. And reminder to our viewers, the Grand Finals is a first to 3, so we will have to, the winning team will have to win 3 matches before they can crown themselves as the champion. Carleton Ravens obviously leading 1-0 in the series so far. And our representative from the lower brackets, Crabbers, they did make their way back here for a rematch against the Carleton Ravens. And we get a couple replays here. Jackler, this is that last, this is where they reset. This is the retake too. It was a very close round here on Garden, and I have to say I'm very impressed with Jurassic, who has been, I think, a very good. He has understood his limits as a Doomfist player very, very well.
Yeah, he hasn't been getting like caught out too much at all. Yeah, just getting great value without too much support needed from his team.
Yep. Well, so that was map number 1, and yeah, again, that was the last couple of. You can see the wrecking ball there as the Gravitic Flux expires, and yeah, at the very end there, Carleton Ravens they kind of came in, and I think one thing that puts Carleton above Crabbers right now is that the CU Ravens, what they do is in fights where it's kind of scrappy and even, they kite a little bit more aggressively than a couple other teams would, right? So you end up with a fight where yes, you're trading back and forth kills, but the team with the superior health advantage is Carleton, and at that point in the last fight territory, when respawns are so delayed because of overtime, you can kind of say, okay, the larger health pool will often come out on top, and so Carleton Ravens a little bit more of an advantage there. Yeah,
Carleton showing definitely a lot of like mechanical skill as well as like team-based skill during these like extended brawl fights.
Yes.
On point. Yeah, good target focus.
Well, we are going to go into the map very, very shortly. It is going to be a Hollywood as our second selection here. Reminder, the losers do pick map, and winners pick side. So we are elected to see the same setup here. It's Crabbers in red and Carleton Ravens in blue as they get set to go. And Hollywood is an interesting selection because, you know, unlike Kings Row, unlike Numbani, which I think, considering that Crabbers does have the option to go to, and they have a fantastic Pharah play too, you know, Hollywood, you don't really see a ton of Pharah here on this map.
Yeah, not traditionally thought of as exceedingly strong Pharah map. It'll be interesting to see, if maybe they've practiced another pick on this map.
Right.
Rather than the Pharah. If they do try and make Pharah work on this map, it could be detrimental.
We are actually seeing a composition from Carleton that, you know, says we think that you're going to start off on Pharah because you've got the hit scan pressure from you know, Twitchy on the Ashe there. Deluxe Rock's going over to the Reaper. Right, he was playing a ton of Doomfist, so, you know, clearly some flexibility on this roster in terms of what they're capable of playing. I mean, Deluxe Rock was playing Doomfist and switched over to McCree, so clearly has hit scan in his repertoire. Played some Widowmaker, but, you know, a reminder to all our viewers, with double shield, McCree or Widowmaker not too good.
Yeah, it's very hard to find value usually. Yeah. They will be rolling out on the Sombra potentially just for scouting.
Yep. Twitchy, or Deluxe Rock's rather, playing a very aggressive play. Teleports back in, sees what they're running, and the swap's going to come through here. A Reaper, Doomfist. Okay. So they're playing a more standard composition. They recognize this is the one thing about it being the defense. You have to show your hand.
Yeah. This will be potentially pretty strong into what Carleton is running. If they can exceed in that brawl, which the Reaper Doomfist is meant to do. Deluxe getting kind of caught out.
He gets out, though.
Yeah.
And Twitchy actually with a pretty good dynamite on the entryway, already up to 35%. Only mirrored by the Moiras with their Coalescence. Deluxe Rock's playing super passively inside the team, and Jurassic finds that out and says, okay, I'm backing up real quick. As the Reaper taken down, Larry taken away, but meanwhile, Deluxe Rock's here in the front line evaporating for Crabbers. It's just Nick. Jurassic, took one for his efforts, but it's not going to be enough. The halt is going to help everyone. And Twitchy says, thank you very much. Line them up. Take them down.
Yeah, Twitchy's sitting very high and pretty on that top platform there. Pretty uncontested right now and building up very quick to his first ultimates.
Yeah. Speaking of first ultimates, the two that are online first are the Coalescence, as is expected. But here's a big difference. Deluxe Rocks versus Larry, right? The Reapers with their Death Blossom, not as close. Not as close there. Obviously, Deluxe Rocks has the advantage of playing into the team. That Coalescence was early, but it pays off. Shiro gets hit by the accretion, but it's damage done. As
this has to be a reset.
This does have to be a reset. You're not going to win a 5v6 or a 4v6. Even Jurassic trying to get it. Oh, this is really dangerous. With the fact that we're getting out so slowly, Carleton's actually chasing them into the spawn. And Deluxe Rock's looking. He's searching for that kill.
Yeah, trying to extend the lead as much as possible, but you have to be really careful when playing that close to spawn, that it doesn't snowball back out of control. Yeah,
one person I'm very impressed in is actually Nick, who's in line with Jackalorf despite his team taking so much, deficit.
Very true, yeah. Sigma not usually a character that builds a lot of ult charge when your team's...
Oh, Twitchy. Finds Larry, who's played a little too far forward, and now it's another 5v6 here with a minute 34 remaining. Carleton, again, this is looking pretty desperate for Crabbers. They have to build up to some ultimates, but it's taking them so long to do so.
Yeah, everyone's sitting at around like 80-90%, but yeah, so next fight they will all be online, but at the same time, Carleton will have 5 ults as well. So.
Yeah. You're looking at, an early Coalescence, but the Bob is right there. They just waited, and Modern Darpa takes so much damage. First death is, in fact, on the side of Crabbers. Twitchy does go down, but it's not going to be enough. And Carleton will hold again, and this is a really tough place to be because you did not, you not force as much. Well, actually, no, you forced quite a bit out of Carleton. Actually, I will say that. If you look at the ultimate charge there, Sissif.
Yeah. Although Carleton was able to find massive value out of their ults, they did invest quite a lot, leaving them only with the Flux, and which will be countered by the beat of K-Bears.
And speaking of beat, Carleton is running the Mercy instead of the Lucio, and they don't have anything for Nick's Graviton Surge, and so there's a Gravitic Flux rather, and this is now a big problem. So Carleton needs to sort of match that play. Oh, but Modern Darpa, a little too much damage, and this is looking pretty desperate now for. This is looking pretty desperate for Crabbers as they do not get a chance to use the Sound Barrier, and the Gravitic Flux was committed from Carleton and got value, so this is now, and Nick used his Gravitic Flux and there was nothing there, no one really was caught on it. So with 10 seconds remaining, another touch needs to happen here, Supercharger early, they're going to have to use the Sound Barrier just to get to point. It is going to be the Reaper touching first, counter Coalescence, but Jurassic is already down, and they have to use the Coalescence just to heal. Death Blossom in turn finds 2. Will it get more? This is looking pretty desperate now. Crabbers, they get 1, but is it enough? They're up 1. Deluxe Rocks forced to Wraith from the Resurrect, finds Jack! And Accretion just misses as Jackalorf Supercharger from Kachow, as it is going to be enough there. The Death Blossom out. And that is looking so desperate from Crabbers. They get 1 tick, 1/3, 37.3%, but that is all that they will have to contend with.
Yeah, Carleton almost got a little caught out there from extending so far, trying to snowball off of that Gravitic Flux into a lead where, they couldn't come back, but they found themselves very strung out when the Reaper and the Wrecking Ball were both back on point, requiring like a pretty sufficient amount of force to deal with them.
The one thing that must be said is that K-Bears was forced to use the Sound Barrier just to get 2 point because Carleton was playing so aggressively. So by the time the fight was in a sustained situation, Carleton was able to outlast, because again, we brought this up at the end of Lijiang Tower, is that Carleton kites, right? And so they saw the beat come in, and that's when they were sort of, okay, we'll back out, and that's a problem for Crabbers. But that said, a win condition is established here. Crabbers, it's 4 minutes, but they have to defend 1/3 of the point.
And if they do fail to defend this, they are not out of the series. They do have another map, but it would be... Crabbers are going to try their very best to hold this, as evident by the Bastion that they just picked. A very, very defensive pick on this map.
Yeah. You can see Carleton, the thing is, though, is Carleton has attacker's advantage when it comes to compositional choices, right? So you see the composition, you can tailor around it. I do like the Bastion May here from the defense. They do have, again, more to work with. They don't have a lot. They have a lot of time to burn off the clock. They don't have a lot of point percentage. So Carleton, if they set up on point and no one contests, it's only 1 tick. So that's all I have to give.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Interesting to see how Carleton deals with this. Maybe plays off angles, yeah, or just sets up on point as you, yeah.
Twitchy on the Hanzo. I don't know that they'll stick with this. Sonic hits the overhead. You can see he looks back in frustration.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. There they spot. Oh, Kachao spots the Bastion in the most nasty of ways.
I guess, yeah, Carleton was not expecting that. They were expecting probably the meta composition instead, and are now making some switches.
Yeah, Twitchy and Dilox was walking back to spawn. Twitchy, it looks like, is switching to Reaper as well. So we have a Mei Reaper look here from Carleton.
This is much better composition against the Bastion.
Yep.
I would say, yeah. Able to isolate the Bastion more with the Mei wall.
You can see some spam taken in, but Carleton has all made it past the entryway this time around. And they are playing so passively. The Great Wall comes up from Larry. And they are on point. They just get point. They just take it. Just like that.
No dedicated contest there from Crabbers leads Carleton to a relatively easy victory against the...
That was not even a fight. That was not a fight. It's not a C9 either, but it's unfortunate.
It just happens.
It just happens. Here's that last scrappy fight at the very end of the map on the defense. As soon as he gets his ultimate, presses Q. Yeah. Very, very well done from Carleton Ravens there as they take a 2-0 lead in the series. We did say, though, this is the grand finals, and so it is one more map for Carleton before they take it all. You know, Crabbers, they want to bring this one back. They want to have a run back here and try to just to keep themselves in the series.
Yeah, they need to be recognizing that, yeah, this is like their very last attempt at this. Maybe, I mean, they did try and pull like alternate strats out other than the Pharah. Here they need to make something work that isn't, yeah, that easily counterable by Carleton. Carleton does know how to counter these Bastion strats, how to counter these Pharah strats. And they play pretty well in the neutral fight in the meta with, yeah,
Doomfist Reaper,
Doomfist Reaper, yeah.
We are headed into map number 3. Map number 3 will be full escort. Again, it is loser's pick, so Crabbers will have our map selection. And this time around, where will we be headed to? We're not. We'll have to wait to find out as the Crabbers, you know, talks it out amongst themselves, gets an idea of where things are going here. Just a quick reminder, of course, that we are the Capital Click Tournament Overwatch Edition, presented by Desjardins here at Click Esports in Ottawa. So, you know, if there's a little, shall we say, what's the word I'm looking for
Incentive?
here? Thank you. Incentive, yeah. Brought along to, if you sign up here at Click Esports for an account at Desjardins, you get $100 as well as $100 in store credit. So, a lot of time to play some video games.
Yeah.
In a sort of environment like this, and of course, you know, Click Esports runs a couple of tournaments as well. So if you know that kind of suits your fancy, you can come down and take a look at what they have to offer. It's a pretty cool environment. You know, for players, a couple players got their first chance to play in a tournament like this. You know, we were talking to Reiko from Ottawa Degens, who played here earlier today, and she said she had a lot of fun. You know, trying out the heroes, or sorry, not trying out the heroes. Trying out the heroes, obviously, they're playing the game. But I mean, you know, getting a chance to play in that competitive environment and really establish themselves. And you know, I think that's one of the things that's underrepresented in esports in general is that we talk often about the grandiose in that, you know, the big tournaments, the Overwatch leagues, and you know, your majors and so forth. But there's something fun to be said about a local tournament.
Yeah, this is a great chance for teams all around Ottawa. Like, you know, you're playing like ranked at home and stuff. Maybe getting a bit angry. It's great to like find a team that like really can work with you to like help improve your gameplay. It's not just improving your gameplay though, because there's the element of like teamwork and teammates, right? You become friends with your team in a way that I don't think. You know, friends are cool, but I don't think something about your teammates is special as well, right? So you have to take that into account, and I think it's always great to get that first taste. I come from obviously like playing sports a lot, and that was growing up one of the things that I really enjoyed is getting to play tournaments with your friends and your teammates was great. Coming to esports as well has been really cool. So, you know, just a reminder of how we got to this point in the grand finals with Carleton up 2-0 over Crabbers. A fight they had to play tenaciously, but on our way here, we saw some pretty interesting stuff. And I guess what's your highlight of the weekend so far? Highlight of the weekend probably has to be between Ravens Black and BlizzKill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that first match that they played was so very close. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Yeah.
I mean, the second one was not bad either. It was a pretty close matchup there. And speaking of the topic we were just on, the Ravens Black. That was their first. There was a first tournament. The first time they'd played in an environment like that. They said that they had a ton of fun.
Yeah. They looked like they were having a blast at their PCs. over there. Yeah, so, getting to meet each other for the first time in person. Yeah. You
can see behind us there the computers in the back that the players are playing on. So they get a chance to get an idea of how they kind of experience, over there. So very well done. We are going to have our next map selected. It looks like it is going to be Junkertown, as it looks like we're actually going to go almost directly into it in just a moment. So these players not want to wait around as long as we want to get as much of the time in as possible. So. Yeah. Speaking of the fact that we know it is going to be Junkertown, it is going to be defense for Carleton Ravens again. One thing that we kind of have to highlight is that this is a map like no other in Overwatch.
The sight lines here are so open. A lot of off angles that can be taken here. Traditionally, a lot of Widowmaker played here, but with the advent of double shields, not a very popular strategy, I would say.
I mean, the one thing about this map is we see a ton of Bastion still.
Yes.
Right? We see double sniper. The weird thing is we do see a ton of double sniper here as well, even despite the double shield, because as you said, off angles are huge. So there is places to send if you're running the double sniper specifically, not one or not just one, is that you can send them like in very different directions, right? So you don't have enough shields to cover as many angles as they can take.
Yeah.
And with Sigma, having now that 1 second cooldown, you can't reposition the shield instantly either.
Yeah, there is only one repositionable Sigma shield, and you do need that main Arista shield to block off the damage from the rest of the team. So, yeah, definitely some opportunity there if double sniper is what these teams decide to run.
Well, we will see that Carleton Ravens are choosing something that's actually pretty spectacular in terms of what they're running. We have not seen this composition from them yet this weekend.
Yeah, this is...
No, we did see it on Dumani, I believe, on the first point.
Oh.
But it was only the only time we saw it, and it was for a very short moment. It was only on first, so...
Yeah, this is very interesting. It looks like, this is the composition that Shock played on Eichenwald in the grand finals.
And they also played on Watchman Gibraltar.
Yes, yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is a very strong strategy.
Interestingly, a defensive setup here from Carleton. They're allowing Crabbers to take position on the cart, something you don't normally expect. But here, Deluxe Rocks over the top, looking to rain down damage, not even letting the Bastion set up to force the Immortality Field early. And that is actually really dangerous now because you do not have the defensive ability. Carleton Ravens use theirs, but the first pickoff is already for Carleton. Crabbers are taking so much spam, and Larry has to play in the safety of the spawn, but his team has died the whole time.
This is, the strength of this comp is that there's massive damage coming in from the Bastion, and he has the shields to protect him. And there's also the Pharah coming in, which is... On the massive off angles on this map, it's very hard to block all of that damage coming through with only dedicating like an Orisa shield to the Bastion.
Yeah, we are going to see a halt come in and a character swap from Crabbers as they go to the Genji Ashe. This is interesting. We don't see a ton of Genji played. Forced to dash away, already used Deflect. And the Crabbers are looking very, very strong at the top as the Immortality Field is used. Shiro taking down the counterpart in support, but not before a trade. The Resurrect is there, however. And Twitchy, that's bold. Oh, Jurassic comes in with a kill. That's actually really strong because the Resurrect was committed onto I believe Deluxe Rocks, actually.
Yeah, Twitchy finds himself very far behind enemy lines.
Deluxe Rocks forced to kite. A great shot from Larry, taking them down, and Crabbers are looking to get their offense. Carleton kiting all the way back here.
Yeah. Carleton with that very aggressive positioning there, let the Onanade just come through right on top of them, right past the shields.
We're actually seeing some switches come in from Carleton. Twitchy over to the Tracer, as well as Deluxe Rocks walking back from spawn on the Hanzo.
Pay attention to the flux from Jacklorf, though.
Deluxe Rocks almost one-clipping Larry at range. The crouch spam happening in there, too, and Larry does not know where to look. In the meanwhile, on the point, it is Jacklorf taking the aggro play. Carleton, Twitchy actually doing a great job of just staying alive.
Yeah, very good to distract like the back line.
Yeah. There. The halt is there, the accretion goes up, but unfortunately no one was tagged with it. So a change in strategy here from Carleton, and now, one thing to keep an eye on is the Nano Blade, a possibility here for Crabbers. Deluxe Rocks, though, picks off Larry in the distance. There's the early Immortality field. Walking forward is Kachow, and they take down Modern DARPA. This is going to be a reset now as Carleton pushes to the spawn.
Yeah, Tracer not traditionally seen in this meta, but she did just undergo those series of
those buffs, really.
Individual range buff.
Yeah.
And that makes her very viable, especially, with the Sigma shields adjust coming in. Yeah.
And that's a good kill from Deluxe Rocks. They put the Dragons in, does not cancel a res, but in the meanwhile, Twitchy's in the backline, just causing havoc. There's the death. Oh, Jurassic, that is so unlucky. That is so unlucky.
It's very unfortunate. But Carleton, opting to go with a very aggressive strategy here, and it's working out quite well.
They're not letting Jurassic get the setup. They're clearly looking for the Dragon Blade, the Nano Blade, right? But they're not getting the setup that they want from the dash into the Nanos, so that's a real problem here. Yeah. As they have 30 seconds remaining. This is last fight territory, and they need this Dragon Blade to be good, but Martin DARPA goes down again. There's the death. Oh,
the defensive flux.
The defensive flux. He doesn't kill Jurassic, but it prevents him from getting dash resets, and it drains out the remainder of the blade. And though the Bob is on point, Kachow will go down, but this is still not out of the woods yet for Crabbers, as Jurassic taking so much damage. They're looking for a target, anybody at all. And that's one down already. Jack gets the kill onto Larry. As they find the play, Jack Lorf gets the kill. Modern DARPA on point, forced to use a supercharger, but Shiro with the amplification matrix, and that is going to be it. Though they had the kills, though they had some tools to work with, it is in fact going to be Carleton. Holding here is the overtime ticks away. It's the Modern desperate contest from Crabbers. And it's just one left in the cart. The Wrecking Ball, the desperation play.
The Reinhardt also coming in.
Nothing doing, and that'll be it.
Wow. That the consistent value from Dilox there and Twitchy, both Twitchy distracting and I think getting occasional picks as well, but Dilox consistently getting picks on entry there.
And that's one of those things, right? On his own, Deluxe Rocks is pretty, squishy as the Hanzo, right? You wouldn't think of him as necessarily safe, especially considering the composition that Carleton's running, but he was just never really besieged because the Genji could never get in the backline because the Tracer was, tearing up the supports, and at that point, it's so tough to play if you are, if you're the DPS player. So credit to Carleton for dividing and conquering. Really, is the way I would say is that went about. So.
Yeah, great adjust too. Like after being forced off the Bastion strategy, the quick adaptation, really letting them pull off a very impressive first point hold here.
Well, the Assemble the Hero stage is active. Carleton Ravens, we can see the payload in the distance. There's that yellow box of victory just past the halfway point of first. And Carleton Ravens, there it is. You can just see it right there. Carleton Ravens, that's all that's between them and victory here at the Capital Click Tournament, presented by Desjardins. So, what kind of defense will we see here? A mirror, it looks like. Well, Jurassic on the Hanzo rather than the Pharah.
Yeah, very interesting. So, yeah, in the mirror. Oh no, okay. Jack Lorf is switching off the D.Va, his favorite hero, onto the Sigma.
Yeah, unfortunately, D.Va not a playable character.
Yeah. We have seen her in some previous games, but yeah, that did not work out too well.
Yeah. Twitchy looking to burn shield, does not get on cart immediately. We saw what happened to... Oh, they forced the Immortality field early again.
Wow. And it's vulnerable to...
damage from Jack Lorf and Deluxe Rocks, apparently. Oh, and Carleton now looking to be in full control of this set. A great accretion from Jack Lorf. In the meanwhile, the whole time the cart was moving. Twitchy dies, but he's quickly resurrected, as the Immortality field was there. Now Carleton in a world of hurt. Twitchy behind cover. Another great accretion as Deluxe Rocks picks up Raijin.
It does come through.
The Resurrect is there again.
Both
so
teams
they're even. Oh, and Larry gets the final blow. This is looking really good now for Crabbers. They actually find themselves with a ton of value on that
And a ton
play.
of ultimates as well.
A ton of ultimates, yes. Larry saying that he is on fire with the Bastion.
Bastion getting so much value from the side of Crabbers here. If you can, compare the ultimate charge between Larry and Twitchy. Twitchy has not been able to effectively set up
A big problem, though, here for Crabbers, though, is the Mei, right? Because of how little space they have to work with. Another great Immortality field prevents Carleton from really following up on damage, as well as a counter Immortality, or counter Gravitic Flux. There's an aggressive play from Carleton Sea Ravens as they take the Gravitic Flux in the range. It finds two. The Resurrect is there, but they can't bring the second one back, and now this is looking like lights out for Crabbers as Deluxe Rocks walks through the front line, looking for those final blows. Jacklorf gets traded, but it is looking desperate here for Crabbers. Looking desperate indeed. And here's the problem. Carleton actually has the Blizzard to work with to zone out the point.
Yeah, this is not looking very good at all for Crabbers. It's going to be a very desperate contest attempt. With Lucio getting picked off, the Reaper finding no value in the back. That's going to be it.
Carleton Ravens, they take the victory here, a 3-0. In the grand finals, Carleton Ravens, your victors here at Capital Click Overwatch. As we roll out the play of the game for Larry, it's a small moral victory, I suppose, but not the one they were looking for. But they do finish second here at our tournament and get themselves some prize money.
Yeah, overall.